What's up, guys, and welcome back to episode number 48 of Skins in the Game. And we got a fun show. And of course, before that, we have J-Dubs in the house. How you doing, J-Dub?
Doing good. Living large. So how do you, I wanted to say, how do you feel 1 year older? You celebrated a birthday between our last show and now, and you're now 29. Am I correct?
29. I'm the final years of my glory years, right? Of the 20s. No, just kidding.
It just makes me feel old.
I am now older than you when you had me.
That's right.
Yeah, because you had me at 28, right?
Yes, I did. 93.
go.
I was 20, not quite. I mean, I was in my 29th year, but I was not 29 yet.
True. Yeah, I'm going into my 30th year technically. But yes, thank you for the birthday wishes. I don't even know how many people knew it was my birthday. I didn't really say anything, but it is what it is. You know, at this point, you know how it is. It's just another year. You know, the only next thing is at 35 I can run for president. So who'd vote for me?
I don't know. I might.
Yeah. Mark's acknowledging that you were right about Aaron Rodgers. We'll certainly get into that. And we got a fun show. So first we're going to get into the ARod and Russell Wilson stuff before we hop into our news with the Carson Wentz trade, because that kind of tells us how we got to Wentz. And then, of course, we'll talk a little draft now. What are we going to do with pick number 11? How's our cap space looking right now with all this big $28 million cap hit everybody's freaking out about? And then, of course, I have something that's important to me at the end where Mike Williams just signed a big deal, and what does that mean for Terry McLaurin for sure? Big old 29 before hitting 30. JW is like, yeah, I remember those days. Yeah.
No, I actually don't remember those days.
Oh,
the first thing you go when you get older is your mind. So it's like I don't really remember being 28. I remember flashes of it, but yes. It is a long, long time ago.
There you go. All right, well, let's start the show how we always do with the dad joke of the week.
All right. I don't think I said this one last week. If I did, but I hate how funerals are always early in the morning or early. I'm really not a morning person.
But, there you go. Good old MOURNING.
That's right.
The morning.
You are edumacated.
The education. Yes. Oh, yeah, there you go. DRG sat down, collected his thoughts. He feels better about it. That's good. That's good. Patrick West in the house says exciting day. For sure. It was definitely a big, exciting day. Before we get that, what do you got?
All right. Well, I actually got two things. One, I haven't verified all of this, but it's very interesting that that we always knew the similarities between Joe Theismann and Alex Smith's injury.
Mm-hmm.
Well, somebody posted something that added a few things that really makes it kind of freaky. That they both broke the right tibia and fibula. It was both on November 18th, one 1985, one 2018. Mm-hmm. Played in DC. The yard line was the 39-yard line. The final score was 23-21. The injury to Joe Theismann was caused by the three-time Defensive Player of the Year, Lawrence Taylor. Mm-hmm. And Alex Smith was the three-time Defensive Player of the Year, J.J. Watt. Mm-hmm. And the Pro Bowl left tackle, Joe Jacoby, was off the field due to injury. And Pro Bowl left tackle Trent Williams was off field during the injury. Mm-hmm. So that was the first thing. I didn't hear those last two things. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
But the other thing I got is this apparently freak athlete, and I know this doesn't translate into performance on the field, but Jordan Davis from Georgia.
Yeah, you just learned about this big mamma jamma, huh?
Oh my God, 6'6",
yep.
341 pounds. He ran a 4.78 40-yard dash. He has a 10-foot 3-inch broad jump and a 32-inch vertical.
The guy is a freak. Freak describes him to a T. But he was the anchor of that Georgia defense in the middle of that line that ended up winning the national championship. Yeah, he was already projected to be a somewhat high pick, but I think he cemented himself as a first-round pick. And Scarily enough, he may end up in a blue and silver uniform. I think the Cowboys are interested in a run stuffer in the middle of their line, and that's somewhere he can end up. I know BC could probably say more to that in the chat, but yeah, it's...
Oh, and I also heard that he did a faster 40 than Pat Mahomes.
Yeah. He is
the dude's
flying.
a freaking freight train.
I think he lost like 20-something pounds for the... I think in the beginning he was like 360-something.
Well, he probably loses 20 pounds when he takes a dump in the morning.
Oh, BC apparently not a fan. Jordan Davis can't get off blocks. Look at his tackle numbers overall. He's a traits guy. Ooh. So, okay, you said it may not translate to the NFL. That's what BC's... but I still think that Dallas ends up going for him because I know you talk about how much you need a guy in the middle of that defense. But anyway, yeah, fair enough. Well, those are two good. What do you got? Yeah, that Jordan Davis one is funny. What do I got? We're in the housing market again, and this housing market is absolutely insane. Everybody knows that, but we actually might be we're going to put an offer on a house here in the next day or two. And, cross our fingers.
News.
Yeah, crossing our fingers that
Where
it goes
still
through.
Local?
It's in Annapolis.
Oh,
Maryland.
Moving closer to your place of business.
Yep. It's pretty much as north Annapolis as you can get. It's basically Arnold, but it's technically an Annapolis address, real close to the Navy base. Basically north of Navy base, across the Severn Bridge. So anyway, we're hoping we get it. We're happy about it.
Is that like Saint? What is it? What's the area called? I thought up that way it's like...
Yeah, I don't know enough about it yet. I don't live there yet. But no, it's fun, and I hope. But if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But we're excited about it, and we're hoping it works out. We both want it too. So
so I got my fingers crossed for you, and I'll say a prayer for you.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for the good lucks. I hope so too. All right. So that was my what do you got? All right, let's hop into these quarterback dominoes deciding to fall here in the last 2 days, and it started with the guy that I think every other team wanted, and this is why everything else was holding off. I think Denver wanted him. I think the Colts wanted him. I think we wanted him. I think a lot of teams were really interested in this guy, and Aaron Rodgers signs a massive 4-year, $200 million contract, $153 million of it guaranteed. He beat out Mahomes by $12 million. Mahomes was previously the highest guaranteed with $141 million. Of course, Mahomes has the bigger contract because he signed a $503 million contract or something like that over a 12-year span. But this is the biggest per-year basis and biggest contract of the guaranteed money. Now he's under contract till 42 years old. How do you feel about this move for the Green Bay Packers?
I mean, I'm sure Green Bay's happy about it. As much as people hate his personality, he's a great quarterback. Mm-hmm. My position on this is, if you don't win a Super Bowl, then it was a bad deal. You could have not won a Super Bowl with a lot of other players, but, hey, good for him. But, man, a lot of money.
That is a whole lot of money. I think it's
scary.
Crazy. I think it's crazy. And I know, it's arguably, if you don't pay him that money, who are you going to pay that money? And that's kind of my point, is I wouldn't pay that much money for any quarterback. And not because of the dollar amount. I don't care. I hope he makes as much money as humanly possibly. I don't care about the dollar amount. It's the percentage off the cap that worries me, right? Yeah. And you're never going to win a Super Bowl with a quarterback over about 13.5, especially not over 14% of your cap hit. And now I think he's like a 17, 18% cap hit. That's way too much money.
I agree.
And it's just not going to be a good move in the long run, I think, for Green Bay. At the same time, he's super talented, back-to-back MVPs the last 2 seasons. The guy can put up huge numbers. He doesn't turn the ball over very often. He, of course, has his troubles in the playoffs, but he also has every 1 or 2 games a year where he just completely flops. And it was the first game of the season actually this year against the Saints. I don't know if you remember that game. Like they scored like 7 points and they just got blown out by the Saints out of nowhere.
Right. Yeah.
And he seems to always have one of those games, right? Like the Niners have done it to him a couple of times where it's just a random game where he just sucks it up. But then the other 15, 16 games, he kills it, right? So good luck to the Packers. I think it's a bad move. I think you're overpaid for this guy, but he's going to be fun to watch. He's going to continue because now can they sign Devontae Adams back? That was a big deal. Well, I don't know. It's going to be interesting because I think actually this contract did add $21 million to this year's cap space, though.
Wow. Well, I have this question.
Yeah.
Does this mean that we don't have to listen to Aaron Rodgers next offseason talk about how he's not going to play for the Packers and he's going to go on somewhere else? Or can we?
You know what? I think he's going to retire next month. he's just going to take the guaranteed money and leave.
What is this, like 5 years in a row? And I know I said this before, but
yeah.
Are we finally not going to listen to the Aaron Rodgers when they get knocked out? Because I know they're talking about them being a contender, and we'll get into the Seattle or the Denver thing. If they get knocked out and he doesn't make it either to or past the championship, are we going to listen to Aaron Rodgers talk again next year how he's really going to look around and try to find a better deal? I just hope we don't. Maybe this breaks the streak.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Well, it's certainly going to help. He's complained about how he hasn't had talented around him before. I don't know how this is going to help, but we'll see. But here we go. All right, now we're going on to the second quarterback deal, and it was the second most attractive quarterback on the market, and that was Russell Wilson, former Super Bowl champion, has had tremendous seasons over the last few years. He had a down year and still had a pretty decent numbers if you look at it last season. Russell Wilson moves on to Denver, and here's the trade. Denver received Russell Wilson and pick number 112 of this year's draft, which is a fourth-round pick. Seattle
guaranteed Pro Bowler.
Guaranteed. Seattle receives quarterback Drew Lock, tight end Noah Fant, former first-round pick out of Iowa, D-tackle Shelby Harris, 2 first-round picks, including this year's 9th pick, and then a 2023, 2 second-round picks, including this year's pick number 42, and next year's second-round pick, and a 5th-round pick this year at pick number 150. Who won this trade in your mind?
Seattle.
You think Seattle won this trade?
Hands down.
Ooh.
Look, Russell Wilson is 33 years old. He's 5'11". He's a great scrambler. I mean, look, I'm not arguing that he's a very talented quarterback, but I think Seattle won. And what is Denver paying Russell Wilson this year? Do you know that number? I don't know that. I didn't look up the number to know, but I'll bet you they're paying him a ton of money in addition to giving all this to get him. I'd be surprised if it was much short of $30 million.
Who's paying that? You mean
Denver?
Well, I know that Seattle had to eat, I think, a decent amount of the contract. Let's see if I can find Russell Wilson now over the cap. And that is a good point of what is his cap hit going to be this season. Let's see, cap space by team. We'll look for Denver. So Russell Wilson this year is a $24 million cap hit, which is actually not that bad.
No, it's not. That's not as bad as I thought it was.
Next year will be $27 million, and they only have him under contract for the next 2 years. So there may be a contract extension coming here shortly. They still have $26 million in cap space, which is solid this season, and $60 million next year. But I don't know. We'll see if Russell Wilson doesn't need a contract extension immediately because he still is getting that money from Seattle. So in his mind, he's still getting a decent paycheck. But those are good cap numbers for sure. I tend to agree that I think Seattle won this trade as well. Denver's going to be pretty darn good this year. But losing Noah Fant kind of hurt, in my opinion. I think Noah Fant was one of their better targets in that offense. And I really want to see the Seattle Seahawks put their chips for 1 year, just 1 year, that's all I'm asking for, behind Drew Lock. Because if Drew Lock becomes what I think he could be, this would be the steal of a trade. Just an absolute highway robbery.
Yep, that's what I was going to go to. And by the way, Big Country, thank you. Apparently, he's very agreeable to me. I got smart over the last couple weeks. But is Drew Lock? I mean, Denver has to think that Drew Lock is going to be a bust. Like he wasn't going to be their guy. He wasn't going to be the guy to take them to the promised land. So that's exactly what I was thinking is, are we giving up? And I say, relative, but are we giving up on Drew Lock being a good quarterback?
Denver did.
Well, Denver did. So I think, like I said, I think Seattle hands down got the better of this deal. And like I said, if Denver doesn't win the Super Bowl in the next 3 years, let's give them 5 years with Russell Wilson. Then what did it get him?
Yeah, and they're gonna have a solid team, no doubt. They're gonna have to also start beefing up that offensive line. Their offensive line has not been very good in the past couple of years. We'll see what they do, but now they don't have a first and second round pick to do so. But I just hope Drew Lock they just give him 1 freaking year. Now I'm hearing that they like Seattle. That is, they like Malik Willis, and if Malik Willis is there at their new pick now, number 9, they may swing at him. Which then I just feel so bad for Drew Lock that he just never really got that opportunity to be the guy. Right.
And
so
by the way, I heard the Commanders I just said Commanders. God, I hate myself. That they're really interested in Malik Willis too. So we'll see. But so I guess you're saying that the Drew Lock thing was just potentially to Seattle was a nothing thing. It's like, okay, fine, we'll take him.
Yeah, just to have a quarterback on the roster, I guess, that has some experience. And I'm sure they'll bring in a veteran to compete with Drew Lock. I'm not saying that Drew Lock will be the only somewhat competent quarterback on the team. I'm sure they'll bring in somebody like, I don't know, Mitch Trubisky, Tyrod Taylor, Jameis Winston, somebody. They'll bring in somebody to compete with Drew Lock. But I'm just saying, if it's close, I hope they go with Drew Lock. They give the young man a shot and see what he could do. Because now he's going to have DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. They're bringing Noah Fant, which is one of his favorite targets from Denver. Chris Carson's still the running back. They're going to have a lot of weapons over there for him with a lot of potential. The guy has a super strong arm. He's got some mobility. He's got good size at 6'4", 220, 225 pounds. The kid's got a good head on his shoulders as far as a good down-to-earth kid. I hope they give him an opportunity, but we'll see.
So this will be his 4th year coming up?
This will be his 4th season, yes.
Okay.
Correct. So, all right. So now those 2 trades is what went down to now get to Washington. So Washington also apparently made a huge swing at Russell Wilson, and it was clear that Seattle did not want to trade him within the conference, which a lot of people are poo-pooing that idea, but it's very common because you play conference teams once every 3 years, at least, and that's if you don't match up with them. You could, on average, play them once every 2 years. On the other end, you're most likely only going to play a team in the other conference once every 4 seasons.
Yeah.
Right?
So you're saying it's Seattle that didn't want to do it. I read that Russell Wilson kiboshed the idea.
Well, according to the sources I read, they said that it was Seattle did not want to trade him within conference.
Okay.
They wanted to trade him out of conference.
Even to the Redskins?
Yeah, which makes sense because you will not see Russell Wilson except for once every 4 years or in the Super Bowl. Right? You're not going to see him in the playoffs, round 1, round 2, NFC Championship. You're not going to see him in the regular season quite often. And it makes sense of, hey, there's two similar trades right now, right? Denver and Washington. I'm going to make the move with Denver because I'm also getting a quarterback in the deal. We had no quarterback to give up that has any sort of potential, right?
All right, well, apparently Roger Smith agrees with me, or read what I read. I should say, read what I read, that it was Russell Wilson.
That's not true. He didn't want to come to a trade. No, Roger Smith, he's just hating on Washington right now. He's been hating on him all day. He hates the Carson Wentz move. He hates the coaching staff. He hates the front office. He's having himself a mood. It's okay. Roger, when we start winning, you're welcome back. There's a seat on the wagon right next to me. You're welcome back at any time. Love you, Roger. But Roger, he's having himself a day. He's not happy about it.
Tim will let you wave his pom-poms when that happens.
Yeah, exactly. I'll give you one of the pom-poms. Maybe both if you're good, okay? No, it's funny. Anyway, so screw that. But no, I'm hearing that it's because Seattle didn't want to trade him within conference, and they're getting a quarterback in that deal. And also, like, what in the world would we be trading? Apparently, we may have been trading 3 first-round picks, which is awesome, except for the fact, why would I want the 3 first-round picks when I can get 2 first-round picks and Noah Fant, who was a first-round pick prior? So they basically got 3 first-round picks,
right,
in that move. But also now they don't have to wait until 2024 to get it. They get it now. They get it today, right? Which is a big difference in the scheme of things. So yes, Washington made their swing. It didn't work out. Of course, ARod didn't work out, and now that led them to make the trade that now everyone knows for Carson Wentz. And here's the trade. Washington gets Carson Wentz and pick number 47 in the second round. They swapped second round picks. So now the Colts get pick number 42. So Washington just moved back 5 spots. Pick number 75 in the third round this season, and a 2023 third round pick that can turn into a second round pick if Wentz plays 70% of snaps. Now I ask you, how do you feel about the trade?
I actually, a while ago, or a few weeks ago, that I was looking at that possibility, and I thought, let's go and look at Wentz's stats.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, he wore the Redskins out when he played for Philadelphia.
Yep.
Including that one play, the Monday night game, when we thought they had him sacked on third down and long, and he looked like he was sacked, and he jumped up and he ran. So I'm looking at his stats, including last year for the Colts. He was 62.4 completion percentage. Not great.
No, it's below average. Yep.
Yeah, over 3,500 yards. He had 27 TDs to 7 interceptions. I just like the sound of that. Of course, the year before with the Eagles, he had 16 and 15. So I'm okay with it. They're paying him $28 million, I think he said when we talked earlier. That seems like a lot of money to me, but Kirk Cousins is making $40 million. So.
Yeah, everybody forgets when they hear $28 million, they hear such a huge number, right? Which $28 million to everybody, because it was just 5 years ago or whatever, 6 years ago, where we refused to pay Kirk $28 million. That was Kirk Cousins' contract, right? Everybody was hearing $28 million a year is way too much for a quarterback, right? So now in 2022, their mind as Skins fans, they go back to that $28 million for Wentz. We should have just given that to Kirk. Why are we giving Wentz that money? It's because they don't realize, no, it's a cap percentage. Nobody cares about the exact money dollar, right? Except for the player, right? Like, I don't care that I'm giving you $28 million. I have a set amount of money as an owner that I have to give you. Or not you, but players, right? Like, this is what I can spend. And I'm going to get close to that number, whether I give you some of it or somebody else some of it. I'm going to end up getting close to that number. So all we care about as fans and everything is that percentage of the salary cap. And the percentage of the salary cap is less than 13.5%, which just so happens to be that magic number that no team has ever won a Super Bowl with a quarterback that's higher than 13.5%.
Right.
And then
By the way,
it goes down. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, as a quick aside, I read that Amari Cooper is leaving Dallas most likely.
Yep.
I read that there was a problem in the locker room because Amari Cooper said Dak Prescott was the black Kirk Cousins. So Dak Prescott went ballistic and was like, so this is what I heard. And I don't know if that it's probably not the only reason, but basically it's one of the things that pushed them to say, we're not signing Amari Cooper because Dak Prescott was, and I'm thinking if Kirk Cousins is such a great quarterback, why would Dak Prescott be upset with that?
Right.
But anyway, okay. Roger read that too.
Yeah,
okay.
Roger read that one too. Let's see what everybody's saying here in the chat about Wentz. Wentz getting paid like a playoff quarterback. He better be. Fair enough, Armin. How's it going, man? Dr. Pig, yeah, but every QB minus Jay Cutler looks like a stud against us. Talking about when you said that. When it comes down to it, Russ opted to not to waive his no-trade clause for Washington. I'm not sure if that's the case or not. Let's see if that did come out. I'm going to look that up. Or if you don't mind, look that up while I'm doing this.
Wait. Look up. I'm sorry. Look up what? To see whether or not
Russ opt to not waive his no-trade clause, or what was it Seattle that made the decision?
Gotcha. I'm on it.
All right, Anthony Johnson. What's up, bro? AJ. And the Colts defense made Trevor look like an MVP, but nobody is going to talk about that. Yeah, I mean, I don't let Carson Wentz off the hook for that game. I'm not trying to say there is quote unquote reasons, but I don't give him no excuses, right? He got sacked 6 times basically off snap in that game. The rest of the team did not look very good either. You talked about the defense. The receivers weren't very good that game. There's a lot of stuff that happened in that game. Everybody's going to put it on Carson Wentz, but everybody puts wins on the quarterback. If you lose, you got to take the L's as well. It is what it is. Rodgers just bingo, time to fire Ron. We could have gotten Trubisky for $5 million and traded up and got Malik Willis. Yeah, I mean, if a lot of people wanted to draft a quarterback, we're going to talk about what we're going to do in the draft later, but I wouldn't have been mad if that's the direction we decided to go, was to go for a rookie quarterback either. I just think that this was best of all worlds because now we have a chance to win immediately with Ron Rivera being in a win-now mode. It's important. So we're going to still have more to talk about this as well.
Okay, just real quick.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Quick, I found a couple articles saying that another one of the reasons was Seattle didn't want to trade him to the conference. But according to, and there was several other ones, but Total Pro Sports reports that Wilson, hold on, get the ad that popped up out of the way. Russell Wilson refused to waive no trade clause for Eagles and Commanders. So I'm getting both reports on. But in addition to that, something that pushed Seattle. So you're right too, that Seattle was kind of like the other part was, yeah, and we don't want to trim in conference. But apparently Russell Wilson was saying, nope, don't want to go to either one of those two teams. That's what I found. Take it.
So he didn't want to go to the East Coast for some reason. So it's not just us, because why would you not want to go to the Eagles either? Like the Eagles just won the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. I don't really see them as like a trash of an organization. Everybody says it's because it's our organization that's trash, but why is Eagles such a bad organization? I'm not sure.
My guess is my guess from Russell Wilson's perspective is, he's 33. Maybe he'll play another 7 years in the league. I doubt it, but maybe he will. That he was looking at a team that was one or two pieces away from contending for the Super Bowl. And I think when you look at Denver and what they have, that I think he thought they were the better one, and he doesn't think the Eagles or the Commanders,
I just disagree, though. I mean, I hear what you're saying. I don't disagree as far as don't disagree with what you read. I disagree with that sentiment, which is why I just don't buy this at all. We have a great team around us with just no quarterback. I mean, then we have a draft to fill these needs potentially. But if we traded for Russell, we don't have the trade. We don't have the capital in the draft to fill these needs. So that's a fair point too. But we have a lot of potential here. We have Terry McLaurin. We have Curtis Samuel. We have De'Ami Brown that we drafted last year. Logan Thomas is a solid tight end. We have a top 6 offensive line. We have Antonio Gibson, and then we would want to sign J.D. McKissick. So we have weapons out of the backfield who he played with J.D. McKissick in the past. On defense, we have a ton of talent on that defensive side of the ball. We all know our defensive line. We have Cole Holcomb, Jamin Davis that are outside backers. We'd have to fill that middle, but they still have a lot of athleticism.
We have some gaps in the safety or the secondary, I should say.
Yeah, secondary for sure, but Cam Kroll's awesome. William Jackson and Kendall Fuller are solid. They're not great, but they're solid. There's a lot of potential here in Washington that I just don't buy this idea of if you added Russell Wilson, we have no chance, especially in an NFC where the quarterbacks are so much weaker compared to the AFC. With Russell Wilson now going to the AFC, it's literally Rodgers, Stafford, like the next best quarterback. Oh, Kyler Murray. And then the next best quarterback might be Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins. Right? Like the quarterback's drop-off is massive in the NFC.
Well, and you're right. And what you say makes total sense. Well, maybe it has something to do with the fact that the organization is under investigation for all of this BS we've been dealing with for the last year or so.
Well, to be another devil's advocate, right now, Denver Broncos are under investigation for being racist towards coaches.
I guess there's other teams that have problems.
You know, like John Elway apparently came drunk to the Brian Flores coaching hire or whatever, and apparently didn't give a black quarterback a real shot. But so they're under investigation of mistreating black coaching potential hires, right? Like, I mean, so there's other.
Yeah.
No,
you make a valid point.
Some other things. So I believe I still buy that Seattle didn't want to trade him within conference if they didn't need to, and they're getting a quarterback in return that we didn't have to offer. And you're getting a tight end who is a first-round talent where you don't have to wait until 2024, like I said, right? Like Denver's trade offer was more appealing unless we were offering Chase Young.
No, I get you. It's a valid point.
And Washington probably wasn't willing to offer Terry McLaurin, Chase Young, Jonathan Allen. Like, they weren't willing to offer these top-notch guys that were potential really great players and all that draft capital. So, yes, I think we swung, but I think that we didn't swing high enough, and Denver made the better trade offer, and Seattle took it, and it was an AFC team instead of an NFC team. On top of that, right? I don't, because Russell Wilson's from the area. I don't know why in the world Russell Wilson would be so anti coming to DC. It doesn't make much sense, especially considering how many ways we've turned this thing around. With Ron Rivera's a much better head coach as far as a good person. Then Martin Mayhew's a good dude who's a black general manager. Jason Wright's a good dude who's a black team president. Like, we're making strides in the ways that people want us to in a lot of ways. So I don't understand why all of a sudden we're such a horrible destination here. Yeah,
no, I get what
Dan
you're saying.
Snyder sucks, but there's still a lot of potential here.
Well, and I get what you're saying, but I guess, or I should say this is a question. So are you saying potentially that Russell Wilson wanted to come to Washington and Seattle said no? You're not going there.
I'm not saying, I wouldn't go as far as that Russell Wilson wanted to choose us. I'm not saying that Russell Wilson had a strong opinion on, it's such a strong opinion that he declined Washington's offer. That's my thing. I'm just not in there. I'm just not in that camp, right? Like, and I might be on an island. Everybody else may think it, but
I get what
it is
you're
what
saying.
it is.
So maybe Russell Wilson is sitting in the room and said, look, you guys, I like these deals. You guys make the decision, and whatever you make the decision, you do the best deal you can for you, and I'll go. So, to your point, he wasn't like, oh, Washington's deal, forget it. He was just like, we had these deals on the table, and he looked at them and went, yep, it's okay.
Because what I read was that when Denver and Seattle agreed on the trade, it was pending a Russell Wilson physical and a Russell Wilson acceptance.
Yeah, and by the way, they still have to do the remaining physicals. It's not officially what I read today is it's not officially a done deal because the other guys in the trade still have not gone through their physicals. Not that that's going to be a problem, but
yeah. Well, technically nothing's a done deal until the new season starts. All of this is just, agreements between teams that are coming out publicly, but technically speaking, none of these trades go final. I remember that with the Alex Smith trade when we did it like the week before the Super Bowl. And it's like, technically that trade did not happen. Like he couldn't come to our building until the start of the new year, right? Like we didn't fly him out the next day and it's like, oh, yep, he's our quarterback now because who knows what could have happened in that time. But I don't know. That's just what I just don't see it. I don't see it. All right. What did everybody saying before? Or, you know what? Actually, I'm going to tie this in to the next topic, actually, okay? We're going to tie that one in. So let's see what everybody's saying here. What's up, guys? John Elway can come drunk wherever he wants to in that town. Yeah, true. Yeah, with how he's won Super Bowls in the past. Yeah, probably. What's everybody saying? What if the Seahawks got all that capital to trade for Deshaun Watson? What do you think of that theory? That they're adding a ton of capital to try to go ahead and send a haul to get Deshaun Watson. I can't say I didn't think about that because I did briefly think that maybe that's what is going on. I don't know if that's
well, and I read that the Commanders and Cincinnati are the two teams still interested in him.
In Deshaun Watson?
Yes.
I did hear that we're not interested as long as the investigation's going on.
Wait, was it Cincinnati or was it the Panthers? Maybe I was wrong. Hold on.
Probably
I think
Panthers.
It was the Panthers. Yeah.
I think you're right. I think it is the Panthers.
Sorry, because Cincinnati's got Joe. So.
Yeah, I think that we weren't willing to make that trade if the investigation's still going on. So there you go. The same Dak Prescott who's 10-1 against Washington, and that one win was controversial. The one win wasn't the win when they missed the field goal. We were at that game where it hit the post.
Oh, yeah.
It hit our post. Yeah, that was fun. And
by the way,
a
little side stat before we move on. Again, have not verified this, but I thought it was interesting that McLaurin had 33 contested targets in 2021, which means somebody was in your face.
Mm-hmm.
Nearly half of the passes thrown his way, which was 69 for the whole season.
Giggity.
How sad is that? Mm-hmm. That's like what?
Not enough.
No, not enough. But then they were saying that you might be thinking, hey, that's a lot, but I'm sure other receivers are facing similar issues. But they're not. McLaurin's 33 contested targets is more than double the next closest receiver in the league, LA's Mike Williams.
It's because Terry refused to throw him in good situations. I mean, basically it was like throw up a prayer to him, but I don't care if he's open. Like I'm not going to throw it to him if he's open. It sucks.
Yep.
It
anyway,
sucks.
That's my stat of the minute.
Yep. I read somewhere that Russell Wilson didn't want to return to the East Coast. He liked the West Coast, and that's very possible. I'd buy that theory more than I would that all of a sudden Washington's just such a horrible organization to ever go to that I'm going to decline it because they're so bad. Like I just don't. I think that's actually the opposite. I think if you we went 7-10 with Taylor Heineke. We beat Tom Brady last year. If we're so bad, we beat Russell Wilson last year. How trash do you have to be, Russell? You hate coming here so bad. Well, we beat you. We've beaten him at least twice that I can remember in the last 10 years when you guys are such a great team.
So you think Carson Wentz is going to sit on the bench behind Heineke?
It's obvious, right? I mean, like that's just such a Redskins move.
We're just bringing in them as insurance.
Yeah, we're bringing him in as insurance because Heineke's the future for sure. All right.
Oh yeah.
Denver isn't the West Coast. I mean, technically, It's closer to the West Coast than the East Coast, but yeah, it's not the coast. If you're being fair, that's true. It's not the West Coast. So, but Denver's
it's a lot closer to the West Coast than it is to the East Coast.
Yeah. And Denver's has a lot going on. I don't know. It's an interesting state and city.
If you like,
obviously Denver being the city, but Colorado's an interesting state. But anyway, all right. So, is this move Ron going all in for the 2022 season? Like, is this guaranteeing that he's going all in, or do you think that there's still a chance that Washington drafts a quarterback and pick round 1 or 2?
Oh, I think there's a good chance. And the fact of the matter is any coach starts to feel the heat where they want to continue. They have an idea or a plan to build a team, and the team takes, 5 years, whatever amount of time it takes. But now you're talking about a coach that's been around 3 years, and he's starting to feel that it's like you can't keep going to your boss and go, hey, trust me, I got a plan. It's going to happen. You're going to have some kind of success. Losing seasons are not real good for coaches. So I think that he's not necessarily going all in for this year, but I do think he feels like I got to put a product on the field that is going to win us more games than we lose. So the owner is going to say, okay, his plan is working. You can't keep going 7-10 and, having losing seasons and losing some games in ridiculous fashion. But that's my opinion.
So do you think there is a chance we draft a quarterback?
Oh, I think there's a good chance we draft a quarterback, whether it's Malik Wilson or somebody else. I think there's a really good chance that, because I think, and I have to pull this up, but there was one guy in the draft that Ron Rivera compared to Cam Newton. Hold on, I pull up so much. Hold on, I'm not sure if I can pull this up or not. I pull up throughout the week. I pull up like
400 tabs.
but keep going.
He meant Malik Willis. I didn't want to steer it. It's Malik Willis, Dad, not Malik Wilson.
Nope. Sorry, but you're right. I just found the article that Rivera compares Malik Willis to Cam Newton. Mm-hmm. So this is on NBC Sports, and sorry, I said Wilson. Pardon me.
We're talking Russell Wilson.
I know.
Yeah.
I went down the Wilson hole. Sorry, but basically, oh yeah, Dan Snyder buys $48 million Riverview Estate. Like, what? This is an ad that pops up. So Cam Newton is the only quarterback Ron Rivera has drafted in the first round. The 11th overall pick. Blah 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 blah. Rivera has noticed a few similarities between Newton and one of the top quarterback prospects, Liberty's Malik Willis. So, the knock on Rivera has been like he's retreading all kinds of Carolina Panthers. And if he truly believes this, I would not be surprised at all if Willis is around in the 11th pick that he picks him up.
I have strong opinions on this.
And
opinions.
Are you agreeing or disagreeing with? I'm not saying it's right.
It's a hard no from me. If we draft a quarterback at all this draft, I now hate this trade. This trade is so dumb on so many levels if we draft a quarterback this season. Why would I trade a 3rd round pick and a potential 2nd round pick to then just go ahead and use this year's 1st round pick to draft that guy's successor?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of reasons you would do that, because most quarterbacks that come out of college are not ready to start right out of the box.
Just go get Mitch Trubisky. Go get Tyrod Taylor. Go get list free agent quarterback that's super cheap that I could just plug in and play for this season.
Well, maybe he thinks that Carson Wentz is a better mentor.
No, not even close. I know. Carson Wentz is a terrible mentor.
Right,
He's known as a bad locker room guy. He is bad. He is known as a bad leader. There's no way that's the case.
Room, I've apparently set him off.
Oh, it's not you just said who set him off. I had this. I have been hearing these things now. This would be unbelievably terrible to draft a quarterback after trading for Carson Wentz, who's already known for not having a good mental fortitude, and then all of a sudden you're now going ahead and draft his successor immediately, knowing now he has no future here in Washington. And also, the whole reason you made the trade for Carson Wentz is because if he succeeds, you have him under contract for the next 2 years. But if you draft a quarterback in the first or second round, now you're saying you have no shot at being our future. This guy's our future. You're our bridge. Why did you make the trade? He was going to get cut. Colts hated him. Colts didn't want him. Colts wanted him gone. If you wanted Carson Wentz so bad for a 1-year bridge, wait until he gets cut and then make the move then. This is a guaranteed to me that Ron Rivera has decided this is it. He said this offseason after we talked about how we wanted to put things together. I believe we did put things together. I believe we've done a lot of great things. A lot of the offensive line is shaping up. We've added weapons around for the quarterback to come into. We've added pieces to our defense. We drafted the linebacker last year. We drafted this. We drafted that. He wants to go all in this season. This is Ron's plan. This is the pinnacle. This is where we're coming together. If we draft a quarterback this year, I hate what we're doing because now the whole reason why I loved Carson Wentz is because if he succeeds, we have him under contract for 2 years. If he fails, we can cut him for nothing because there's no more guaranteed money. And then on top of that, all the experts are saying next year's draft is more talented at quarterback. So the whole point is this guy is the bridge to get us to that draft.
Okay.
If he fails.
Look. All right, I hear you. I'm not arguing with you. So who would you draft in number 11?
I'm going to agree with Roger on this one. I like Lloyd, linebacker out of Utah. He's projected to go. Yep, middle linebacker, projected to go in that range.
Like it.
Or Nakobe Dean from Georgia, another middle linebacker. Supposedly has very good IQ, great IQ at the middle linebacker spot, great athleticism, little bit undersized, but he could be like a Darius Leonard, who's another really good linebacker in the league right now. I like that idea.
So you want to shore up the defense with that pick one way or the other.
Because actually, there's just so much defensive talent in that draft. This is another good one, AJ. Sauce Gardner, his first name, Ahmad Gardner is his real first name. Sauce is his nickname, from Cincinnati. He's a corner from Cincinnati. I'm pretty sure I remember this stat. He didn't allow a single touchdown in his college career. That's how talented he was at the cornerback spot. So if that guy's sitting there at 11, that could be a great guy to go get a shutdown corner to add to our defense. There's also potential guys, because there's so much talent and maybe quarterbacks going in the top 10, where a guy like Kyle Hamilton may fall. Very unlikely, but still, maybe he could fall just like Micah Parsons fell last year. Kayvon Thibodeau, who's coming off an ACL injury, tremendous defensive end. If he's there, I would take him in a heartbeat. And you could either trade Montez Sweat the same day or whatever. The dude's super talented, but you can get another guy on the defensive end spot. There's so much talented there. And also, I hate first-round receivers, but if you wanted to go get Carson Wentz a first-round weapon, there's also a lot of good receivers in this draft with Olave or Garrett Wilson, Drake London. There's a lot of interesting wide receivers as well that could potentially be in that range. But personally, what would I do? Now, to answer your question directly with what I would do, I'm just saying, I was giving you the options first.
It took you long enough to get there.
I was just giving you options. I think right now I'm between Dean and Lloyd. And as I sit in this moment, subject to change, I would take Dean. I think there's a lot of fun of his. I think he would be a great guy that you can plug into the middle of the defense, has very high defense IQ. There's a great play in the championship game where his teammate missed his coverage assignment. Nakobe Dean left his coverage assignment to go fill in, made the play of to knock the pass away, and then got up and basically got in his teammate's face to hold him accountable. and said, yo, you got to be right here. The very next play, that same linebacker that he got into his face made the sack, and guess who was there first to cheer with him? Nakobe Dean. Is it like that's how you do it immediately, right? So there's awesome things coming out of Nakobe Dean. I think that Nakobe Dean would be interesting, but as I said, subject to change. It could be Lloyd, but I would go middle linebacker there. I'm between Lloyd and Nakobe Dean. And then second round, if George Pickens from Georgia falls to number 47, this could be one of the steals of the draft. He's a wide receiver, 6'3", ran a 4.4 40-yard dash. He was arguably the best wide receiver in this class, and then he tore his ACL last season and now has fallen due to injury. If he somehow ends up being there at 47, this team is unbelievable. And then we add a safety in the fourth round. I don't know who would be there exactly. I think the Michigan guy's kind of decent. I don't know if Petre would probably be a second rounder, so probably not him. But Bubba something from the University of Miami could be a guy there in the fourth round that you could get a safety. If we add a linebacker, a wide receiver, and a safety, and now that we added a quarterback, arguably this team has no more holes. Like, where's the hole? I really don't even see it. So, basically...
assuming Carson Wentz can perform, but you're right.
Yeah, right? So that's I would love to get that draft going personally, and I think that would be unbelievably huge to win this year. Super Bowl,
the year...
maybe not, but to win a lot of games and have a chance, I think we could do that immediately this season.
I mean, in all fairness to Wentz, he got them into the playoffs, and he got hurt, and Bowles, right? What was the...
Todd Bowles?
No, what was the quarter...
Who are you talking about?
That Carson Wentz got Eagles...
Oh, Nick Foles.
Nick Foles, thank you. Yeah. I said Bowles, right. Carson Wentz did most of the legwork, and then Nick Foles comes in at the end and performs. In all fairness to him, performs. But if it wasn't for Carson Wentz, I don't think that Nick Foles gets the Eagles as far as Carson Wentz did.
Yeah. Oh, apparently Alex Ovechkin needs one more goal to move into sole possession of third all-time in scoring. You think he does it tonight? I say yes. His classic slap shot from the left side, top right, over the glove of the goalie. Boom. There it is. There it is. But no, anyway.
By the way, he's never catching Gretzky. Gretzky is ridiculous.
Gretzky is. It sounds like you watched my Washington NFL mock draft video. Pickens is a stud. I did not, but hey, great minds think alike. If Pickens is, because I've been doing my own mock drafts in the mock draft simulator, and Pickens has been there every time at pick number 43, pretty much. Maybe like occasionally somebody takes him like right before. If he's there now at pick number 47 where we're set, I think he's projected to, like, according to PFF, I think he's like the 50th best player on the board.
Hey, if we could put another receiver on the field that makes McLaurin, because McLaurin's not that tall. What's he, 6?
6 foot, basically.
Yeah, 6 feet.
Yeah.
To have a tall receiver that defenses have to start covering, and maybe Terry McLaurin no longer gets the top guy. He gets the second guy, or he doesn't get the safety. The safety's got to watch more than one person, because I think the safeties play against the Redskins. They're watching McLaurin 9 out of 10 times.
Oh, yeah, it's so bad. Christian Watson's another interesting guy in the second round. He's a receiver, 6'5", ran a 4.33 40-yard dash, I believe it was.
Holy
guy
cow.
can fly. I don't think he's as good of a receiver as George Pickens. Personally, I think that George Pickens is a more gifted receiver as far as like a natural receiver.
Stone hands?
No, I think he could catch, but route running and all that kind of stuff, I think that George Pickens would be the better 1-2 punch with Terry McLaurin personally. But Watson, I think I was saying Watkins. Sorry, Christian Watson. Is there a Christian Watkins something? Why does that sound familiar?
I have no idea.
Anyway, Christian Watson.
Would you just keep going?
is a really interesting prospect for sure. Skye Moore is another receiver. He's a small guy. I think he's like 5'9", 5'10". He's more of a slot guy. We don't need those. We got tons of those. We got Curtis Samuel. We have I think we're going to keep DeAndre Carter. We have Dax Milne who could be a slot guy. We don't need short.
So you're saying he's a Deshaun Jackson?
Yeah.
Lightning quick, long, the deep threat, just
Justin Ross from Clemson, he's not as impressive to me. He is a big body receiver, I think 6'4", 200 if I remember correctly. But I don't know. His PFF was pretty bad. I would have to look more into him, but I'm not hearing as good of stuff with Justin Ross. But anyway, the receiver that's 6'7", tight end, LOL, who's gonna cover him in the red zone? Maybe. David Bell reminds me a lot of Rondell Moore. Rondell Moore I liked a lot coming out of Purdue. But again, Rondell Moore is a smaller, quick receiver, Swiss Army knife kind of guy. Like I'm not interested in that because of the kind of guys.
He's not allowed to bring knives onto the field.
Oh, Swiss Army knife? Is that what I said? Yeah.
Sorry, I was trying to be funny and came up short once again. But
I thought Moore. Yeah, if I remember correct, I thought Skye Moore was small. Let me double check. Skye Moore. Yeah, he's 5'10", 195 pounds. But go ahead.
No, I was just saying, Rodgers is going to keep you straight.
Yeah. Anthony Johnson, I'm going kicker for a first round. I want Joey Sly. We got to get into that. But that's another. That's a great segue. Go ahead.
Who did you say to fantasy football picked the kicker in the first round?
Kevin, I think. Wasn't it Kevin, our cousin, that picked?
Was it? It might have been. I just remember you laughing going, he picked the kicker
in the second round or something like that in the fantasy draft.
I thought it was like his first pick. Like
either way, 15. I mean, you don't draft a kicker in the second. It was ridiculous, whatever it was. Yeah. But anyway,
all right, let's move along.
Moving on. So, because Carson Wentz is a $28 million cap hit, currently as it stands, we are only $6 million now in the cap, $5.9 million. Now, what does that mean for the guys that we wanted to keep in free agency? A la Joey Sly, the kicker, J.D. McKissick, a lot of fans wanted to bring back this year, DeAndre Carter, the kick returner, Cam Sims, the receiver. There's, of course, Troy Apke, the elite special teamer that we have to go after.
So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
See, I don't know the answer to this question, but is it legal or feasible that the Redskins would go to Carson Wentz and say, look, we want to pay you the money. We're going to guarantee X amount of dollars over the next 3 years, but $28 million is going to really cripple us. Mm-hmm. Can we restructure it to say, we're going to guarantee you X amount of dollars over the next 3 years, whether or not we cut you or whatever, you're going to get paid. We just want some options this year. Can they do that? 100%.
Yeah, so it's called a signing bonus. So basically how you restructure with the signing bonus is, let's say you did a $10 million signing bonus over the next 4 years. That $10 million gets distributed evenly over the next 4 years rather. So it's 2.5 million cap hit, 2.5 million, 2.5 million, so on and so forth. So basically you restructure a portion of that 28 million, whatever you want to do. You can say, all right, we're going to restructure 15 million of this contract over the next 3 years, right? So instead of a $28 million contract, you subtract that 15, but then add 5, so he'd become an $18 million cap hit for this season.
Gotcha.
And then next year, he's supposed to be a 26, so then he'd become a 31, and the year after that, he would become a 27 to 32. So a 31 to 32.
And I know it's not a exact comparison, but isn't that what they tried to do with Kirk Cousins, where they were trying to structure it to where when he was 63 years old, he was still going to be getting guaranteed money? Do you remember that? It was like,
I feel like there was some weird thing about that. I don't remember all the details, but I don't know about 63, but yeah, I think it was something.
No, he was going to be old. Maybe not 63, but
yeah.
I think I remember Doc Walker talking about it. It was like they were saying, look, we're going to give you the money, but we want to be able to help the team, so we're going to stretch it out over like 30 years.
Yeah. Yeah, you might be right. I don't remember exactly what happened. But anyway, yeah, so that would be like the signing bonus kind of thing, is when you restructure, when you sign this, you guaranteed this money, but we're splitting it over a certain amount of time. So, Yes, that's basically what the Saints did last year when they had $100 million in the negative. They just restructured like everyone's contract and pushed money down the road, and then it worked. And also, of course, Drew Brees gave a bunch of money back out of the kindness of his heart, I guess, because he's retiring, so he didn't take all the money. So he gave a bunch of money back.
I wish I was his friend.
Right? Yeah. So
hey, buddy.
Yep. But so, yes, we can add more cap space. So the $6 million is not where we're stuck. Another way we can cut, and I'm curious if you think this is going to happen, is we could save $6.5 million in cap by cutting Landon Collins. Do you think, what's your prediction? Do we move on from him, or do you think we try, or we say, you know what, we can maintain that contract? Because right now he's a $16 million cap hit. We can save 6.5 of it by cutting him.
Or talk to him and say, let's restructure.
Yeah, that is an option.
With
anybody, that's an option. With anybody, that is technically an option. I personally don't like that idea because I would rather just cut ties with him now because I don't want to push any of his money down the road. But it is technically an option if you wanted to keep him. Yes.
Well, so you either cut him or...
All right, what's your prediction? Do you think they restructure or do you think they cut? Or do you think they keep and just say it is what it is?
Well, this is the Redskins. All right, I have to give a prediction. I think they restructure.
Restructures your guess?
Yeah. Because now that they moved him his position to linebacker, and linebacker,
yep.
And he was shining. And if I'm the Redskins, I go to him and say, all right, if we release you, do you really think somebody else is going to pick you up? Maybe he does.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like we want you to get paid, but again, we need to be able to make room to be successful now. Let's stretch your $6 million or $16 million over a period of time, guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to pay it, but we can't stand a $16 million cap hit. And so that's my prediction is they go to him and say, look, we're going to guarantee the money, but we're going to guarantee it over a period of time. You either work with us, or if you think you can do better on the free market, then do it.
Jairus has a good point too, because linebacker would become a bigger hole than what it already is. And he's a guy that can technically play both. He's a hybrid kind of a guy. I think you guys talked me into it. I don't hate the idea of restructuring. Keeping him as a $16 million cap hit with $6 million is left in your cap, I think is insane, which I think we all agree. So restructuring it, how many years does he have left? He has 3 more years on his deal. Now, you could do a signing bonus for however many years you want. Even if it's only his last season, you could do a signing bonus and restructure and kick that money down 10 years from now if you wanted to. Of course, the player has to agree to it because they don't get that money anymore this year. That's why the restructure is happening, right? Like, so even though they're guaranteed that money, they don't get it until the year that it's scheduled to be paid, right? So I don't hate the idea. You keep him. He is a guy that's not bad for your defense, except if you put him as a deep safety. That's silly. But in the box safety or an outside linebacker, it's not a terrible idea. So, all right, I agree. Let's restructure. I don't know exactly which direction
we got him over,
but I you know what? I'll take it. You know, I'm usually pretty hard-headed, but I'll go with you guys on this one. I'll go with you guys. Outside of Landon Collins, though, it's kind of, I don't really see them cutting anybody else to save money, right? I don't really see it. Wait, wasn't DeShazer Everett the one that got in the car accident and killed? No, who was that? Everett? That was Everett, right?
It was Everett. Yes.
So maybe we could save $2 million by cutting him.
Well, something tells me he's in a bad way. He might not be able to play.
Right.
Next year, I think he got convicted on manslaughter.
You might be right. So that's going to be $2 million we're going to get back for DeShazer Everett. So that's $8 million. Outside of that, though, there's not a lot of money to be saved by cutting people, if we're being honest. So go ahead.
By the way, did we talk about Joshua Williams?
Joshua Williams.
Well, this is the Burgundy and Gold report. They were talking about hidden gems that the Redskins could find in the draft. But he's out of Fayetteville State. He's 6'2.5", 193 pounds. He's got track level speed and played in the Senior Bowl and did very well there. And they're saying that they could get him late
in the draft.
Yeah.
Interesting. So Joshua Williams, you said?
Yep.
I'm not familiar with this guy at all.
I know this was, and the article I read, this was hidden. You know, the hidden. What do you call it?
Hidden gems.
Yeah, or the secret. You know, the seals. But he has length. They said he to be a potential day 2 pick.
Day 2, interesting.
But for Washington would pose great value if still available in the 4th round. But he's a look. I always go back to Adrian Peterson in my fantasy football. I picked him in the 8th round. I read about him and nobody knew who he was. And I picked him and he lit up his rookie season. So
yeah.
But I don't know.
That's awesome.
See, but yeah, check out Joshua Williams from Fayetteville State.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the camp of I really want to go for one of these guys in the 2nd round. I think that's where the real value is this year because there's so many talented receivers that could go 1st round. But since it's such a deep class, there's going to be a 1st round caliber receiver, in my opinion, sitting there in the 2nd round potentially.
So you go receiver over cornerback.
Corner in the 2nd?
No, I'm saying, okay, that's what I'm saying. You go receiver in the 2nd over cornerback. That's fair.
Yeah,
but
that's where I would go. But if that's not where they end up going, then I do always like me some late round receivers because there's so many of them. Sorry. Excuse me. But anyway, there's so many good receivers typically in the draft that you can get one in the 4th, 5th, 6th round. But this year to me, it seems like the middle of that 2nd round is going to be some really interesting guys in that spot that I think could immediately make a huge impact when you compare him with when you combine him with a Terry McLaurin. So personally, that's where I would go at the moment, but that's just me.
Well, there's another one, and sorry to go down a rabbit hole here, but again, these are the hidden, what the Redskins might be able to steal. But Isaiah Likely from Coastal Carolina is 6'4", 241-pound tight end.
Oh, a tight end. Okay, that's not like a huge tight end. All right. No, actually, I want to just stop you right there. I have no interest in a tight end this year.
Okay.
I have no interest because we still have Logan under contract. We have John Bates. We have Samus Reyes. We may even be able to. Or what's his name still under contract? Actually, what's the no, Ricky Seals-Jones I think is a free agent that maybe we look to bring back as another tight end. I am not interested in a tight end this offseason or this draft at all. I think the big needs right now are linebacker in the 1st, wide receiver in the 2nd, safety in the 4th, and then like if they wanted to go safety in the 2nd and wide receiver in the 4th, I don't hate that idea either. Because that could be a good trade-off. And then I would want a interior offensive lineman that could be versatile to replace Wes Switzer as the backup. So Wes Switzer would become the starter, and I want to get somebody else that could be a rotational guy in the middle there since we're losing Brandon Sheriff. And then I want a running back in the final, specifically Ty Chandler in the 7th round because the lineman would be in the 6th, or, we could vice versa that. So there's an interesting guy from Wisconsin. His name's escaping me off the top of my head. That might be an interesting guy that could be a 6th round pick. That could be a good interior offensive lineman. So that's the directions I would go. I don't want a tight end because I don't think that's going to make the impact this season that we're really trying to win now. So personally, I'm just not interested.
All right, I'm looking at this, the Burgundy and Gold. They actually list a running back that's 5'9", 162 pounds I'm like, is that a typo?
A running back is how much?
162 pounds.
Oh.
This is what this site shows, and I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, but that does not sound. So maybe this is a bogus site. I'm closing it up.
You're good.
Talking about
All right, so
162-pound running back. That's what I want.
There was a receiver last year that was stupid small. I don't remember his name off the top of my head. Like, unbelievably small. But anyway.
All right, so this is the part of the show that you wanted to get to. You wanted to talk about Mike Williams. The floor is yours.
So Mike Williams just signed a pretty darn big deal, considering he really only had one decent season, and that was last year. He was a former first-round pick for the Chargers, and he found himself a way to earn $20 million per year, a 3-year, $60 million contract.
Sign me up.
I need a Terry McLaurin extension immediately. Like, this needs to be one of the highest priorities in this offseason. If we wait another offseason, this guy could be $30 million to keep. If Mike Williams is $20 million a year, Terry already might be worth 23, 24, 25 million.
So let me ask you this. Do you think that they've had discussions and the Redskins are hesitant, or do you think Terry McLaurin has been kind of, and I'll use Kirk Cousins as an example of like, nope, I don't, whatever you offer me right now, I'm not.
He very well might be, and honestly, it's hard to blame him. But the only thing I'm going to harp on is throw some guaranteed money at this kid, because he's only made like $6 million so far in his career. If you threw $50 million or $60 million guaranteed in his face right now, and you threw like maybe $22 million a year, $22.5 million a year, and guaranteed a ton of that, I don't know. I feel like that's hard to turn down for a guy like Terry because of where he's at.
You think it's going to be north of 20?
It's not even a question. It's not even a debate anymore. He is
much
better.
Are we getting?
Yeah, well, he's much better than Mike Williams, and Mike Williams just got $20 million a year.
No, I'm not arguing that. But how crazy is it that now we got not only quarterbacks floating up around 40 million. Now we got wide receivers. You got defensive players. They're all. I mean, you realize that the more money the players make, and good for them. Not arguing, but the fans, the owners aren't paying for that. The fans are paying for it, and they'll continue to pay for it. And if it doubles, everything will continue to double. So if they have to pay a guy twice as much as they used to have to pay, then you're going to end up paying more for your tickets.
Yeah.
So, wait, what is
Mark
this?
Hearns wanted me to answer this. Hey, Tim, trade idea. Miami receives Arizona 4th-round pick and Kyler Murray. Arizona receives 29th overall pick, 2023 second-round pick, 2024 first-round pick, and Tua Tagovailoa. I mean, that would be. I think that would be unbelievable for Miami. Honestly, I mean, trading basically 2 firsts, but one of them in 3 seasons. So you still get to keep your first-round pick for the year after. I think that's too low for Arizona to accept. I think it would be silly for Arizona to trade Kyler Murray. But anyway, Terry's going to leave this train wreck. Get ready to say goodbye to him. You might be right. Only way Terry signs is if we offer him a Brinks truck. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to get this number down. Right? Like, because I care about the percentage cap. Right? So I'm trying to get that number down. I want to offer him a fully guaranteed contract. I'm willing to. If I can get that per year number down. But the guy is so high character. I don't worry about him quitting. I don't worry about him just being a diva and walking off the field.
I'm not sure I've ever heard him talk.
Yeah, he is a very quiet, leads by example. He did have one, like, halftime speech or something, or end of the game speech in his rookie year, I believe. So, and that was weird for like everybody as far as like all his teammates, like, wow, like he doesn't say anything. So yeah, he's a high character dude. He's got a great head on his shoulders. This is a kid that I would love if I can get that per year number down and try to save my cap a little bit. I would pay him $88 million a year for a 4-year extension, fully guaranteed.
Wait, $88 million a year? You said
I'm a 4-year deal. I'm sorry, 4-year deal, $22 million, but
Ooh.
fully guaranteed.
So what if you guarantee him $15 million over the next 10 years?
No. Oh, wait, you're talking about like, oh wait, $15 million a year?
Yeah, over the next 10 years. So $150 million guaranteed, but spread out over the next 10 years. We pay you $50 million a year, but you're guaranteed $150 million. Am I way out in left? No, I'm saying it's like that way he's only hitting $15 million.
I would do it in a heartbeat. I don't think there's any way he would do it.
Really? $150 million over the next 10 years? You're going to poo-poo that idea like that's somehow some kind of insult?
Maybe.
Because he's not going to play. Well, let me say this. And maybe 15 is not enough. But if you guarantee him a lot of money over a long period of time.
Right. Right.
I mean,
as I said, my number one priority for him would be to try to get that per year number down as greatly as possible. So yeah, if I paid him $15 million over the next 10 years and fully guaranteed it, I'm not mad.
And would he be? I mean, it's like, okay, we're going to guarantee you $150 million to play for us.
Yeah.
And maybe 10 years is too long, but you were talking $22 million a year. I was thinking, hey, whatever that number is, spread it out over a period of time and say it's 100% guaranteed.
Yeah.
And we're going to pay this money for you.
So how about $120 million, 6 years? So it's $20 million a year, but you fully guarantee it.
Yeah, I think 20. I mean, again, I'm old school. I think 20 million is high, but
yeah, but
that might be what they
over
need.
6 years, the cap's going to continue to go up. So this year it would only be like a $10 million cap hit or $12 million cap hit. Well, not this year, but the year after.
No, I get what you're saying.
It would only be like a $12 million cap hit, and then it just steady grows throughout. And then the final year of his deal, he's like a $34 million cap hit, but then the cap has gone up so much it doesn't hurt as much.
No, you're right. I mean, that makes sense. But spread it out. I agree. Get the number down so we can fill up all the holes. But anyway.
Yeah, I'm one that cares about the cap space for the percentages. You know, I want these players to make as much money as humanly possible. You know, if they could bankrupt Dan Snyder and force him to sell the team, I would love that. But
no, these discussions have nothing to do with what player. You know, I'm not looking at anybody out there as a player as you're a bad guy. You're a gold digger. You're trying to. It's like no, you do you and get as much as you can. I'm a team. I care about the team. So, wait.
Why are we talking about cap space when Saints are running an underground mafia? I don't know how they work their cap space. I mean, do you know what their cap space is right now, Dad?
What? Who's cap space?
Saints.
Oh, I have no idea.
You want to take a guess?
250 million.
No, I'm sorry. Like,
how much space
they have?
Oh, they have available. 46 million.
Negative 45.
Oh. So they're paying the luxury tax. They're paying for that.
They're going to restructure. They're going to figure it out. They're going to finagle all these contracts and get them all weird. Like, next year they only have $22 million in cap space because of all these. They just kick cans down the road over and over and over and over and over again. Would you target Marcus Williams in free agency? Now we don't have the cap, and while I would like to get a new free safety, I'm kind of looking to go bargain on free safety, to be honest, whether it be like Anthony Harris or, Bobby McCain. I really want to go draft for my ideal would, I've talked about it now. I would like to go safety either in the second or the fourth round. Like if George Pickens is not there in the second round, I would love to go grab a safety in the second round right now. But go ahead, Dad.
No, I was just reading what Jarris was saying. I can't argue with that. I get it.
Why care about the team when team doesn't care about him, doesn't get targeted nearly enough, almost never a part of the game plan. Terry should eat up all the cap. He deserves it. Oh, I mean, we just got him a quarterback that's not willing to, or not scared to throw the football. We also tried to get him a quarterback that wasn't scared to throw the football with Ryan Fitzpatrick, and clearly he got hurt the first game of the year, and it hurt a lot. So, but I think that Terry McLaurin was up for a huge year if Ryan Fitzpatrick was the quarterback, because Ryan Fitzpatrick is known to feed his number one receiver, like overfeed him, gorge. He was going to have plenty to eat if Ryan Fitzpatrick. But then you have Taylor Heineke, who's so scared to see when he sees Terry McLaurin one-on-one, let me find him. I want to find Terry McLaurin. And I don't, everybody wants to hate on Scott Turner saying that it was, Scott Turner didn't put him as a part of the game plan. I just disagree. He was open so many times where it was a part of the game plan, and Taylor Heineke refused to throw his direction.
Yep.
I mean, Terry McLaurin's wide open like this. I've said this many times. Wide open like this, 15 yards downfield, and Taylor Heineke instead throws a quadruple or quintuple coverage for Cam Sims. So I know that everybody likes to hate on Scott Turner. It's the fun thing to do. Scott Turner's terrible.
No, I've repeatedly say I don't know if it's his problem or Heineke can't run his offense.
Yeah.
I will say one more thing before we end the show, that I love the line that Aaron Rodgers said when, as a quarterback, he said, if I look at my receiver and I can see the name of the defensive guy, meaning I see the back of his jersey, he goes, I'm throwing it because I'm going to get it there before he can turn around. And I just thought that was a great line. It was like, if I see the number or the name on your jersey, you're faced away from me and I'm throwing it.
Yep.
And he's zinging it in there and getting it, which I'm not sure Heineke can do, but I think Carson Wentz has got a little more oomph behind his.
Definitely, 100%. Or he would throw it so late that it's dangerous catches, especially for Terry. Yeah, exactly. And we did. We went and we did something for Terry right now. We went and got him a quarterback, a real quarterback, number 2 overall pick. So, and here we're going for the Honey Badger. Well, that's probably out the window now because that report was before the Carson Wentz trade.
Yeah, they don't have the numbers now to get. Well, they could always pay the luxury tax, and Dan can afford it.
Well, yeah.
They could pick him up. I think they were saying a $48 million deal over 3 years was the projected for Matthew.
Yep.
So, who knows? Dan Snyder,
For sure. All right. Well, thank you, everybody in the chat. It was a lot of fun. But before we go, make sure in the first link in the description to sign up for our March Madness tournament, the Tim Sports Talk March Madness tourney. You can win $100. It's free to enter, and you can win the first merch ever on the channel. My sister should have it soon made. I could reveal the design in the Discord here soon, and I'm going to wait to put it on the shirt because I want to make sure I get the right size for whoever wins it. But make sure you enter. First link in the description. The password's also in there. Enter up. I'm not sure exactly when they're planning on putting out the final bracket, but I'm assuming that's in the next week or two. So make sure you sign up for that, and we'll have fun there. Like, share, and subscribe as always. Thanks, Expert JK. Any last words there, Daddy-O?
Nope. Just thanks everybody for hanging out. A lot of great comments. Good show. We've managed to fill up the void of actual football with a bunch of nonsensical.
Well, it wasn't nonsense this week. It was big news this week.
Well, again, a few years from now, let's see if it gets us anything.
Yep.
Right.
But hey, thanks everybody for watching to the
Yes.
end as always. It was a lot of fun. I think we got up to like 60 some odd viewers today, so
Nice.
it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. But thank you guys for hanging out, and we will see you next time. I'm probably going to go live on Protec's channel here in about a half hour. So if you haven't subscribed to Protect Sports Network, I hear he's doing a live stream at 9, and he invited me. So I may go hang out over there. So you'll get more of this ugly mug
Oh my God.
coming soon. So go
How
over there,
much
hang
can
out.
you guys take?
Yep, it was a lot of fun.
All right, see ya.
Football fans says thank y'all. No, thank you guys for
Yes.
watching. It was a lot of fun. And until next time.